the top three additives that you hope in your role you'll be able to basically remove from our food supply?
Well, I would say, first of all, I believe in freedom of choice. If you want to eat Twinkies, you ought to be able to eat them, but you ought to know what's in them. So a lot of what I'm going to do is about radical transparency, about making people understand, allowing people to understand, and empower them with understanding that if you eat that, it may seem cheap, but it's going to cost you in the long run. You're going to get diabetes, et cetera. There are certain additives. We have 10,000 additives in our food. The Europeans have 400. Many of the additives that we have are just illegal in Europe. And we need to move more and more toward the European standards.
How's that not a nanny state? I'm saying what the critics are going to say. That RFK Jr. is just a new Bloomberg nanny state, which conservatives traditionally aren't. President Trump likes Big Macs. We're not going to take those away, are we?
Oh, we're not going to take. That's what I'm saying. If you want to eat a Big Mac, you ought to. But McDonald's ought to be incentivized to use beef tallow fat when it's cooking its Big Macs, and so that they're good for people, rather than using seed oils or some other cooking oils that are actually going to probably make you sicker. And so we want to do a number of things, but not take away choice from people. The one place that I would say that we need to really change policies is in the SNAP program and food stamps and in school lunches, because there the federal government in many cases is paying for it, and we shouldn't be subsidizing people to eat poison.
Mike Gallagher.
Make America great again. Make America healthy again. And you know something? What's really cool about people using that MAHA phrase a lot with Bobby Kennedy being confirmed, it's what PhD weight loss has been saying forever. And I'm so excited to welcome back, because it's been too long, my dear friend, Dr. Ashley Lucas, who's the founder of PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. Well, I think she saved my life. I believe that. Dr. Ashley, it's great having you back again. How you been?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so thrilled to join our morning guy on many of our stations around the country, Chris Stigall out of Philly, on the PhD program. I heard him this morning. He wants to lose 50 pounds. And then he and I have been texting back and forth. I said, look, I lost 53. You could be right there with me. He is over the moon excited. This program is taking America by storm. And as I told Chris, you have been saying make America healthy again for a long time. Let's talk about what that actually means, because what I'm reading and hearing about these shots in the belly, look, that's big pharma. We all know about big pharma. We all know how they're profiting from people who think, oh, I've got the miracle cure. I'm going to spend a fortune getting an injection in my stomach every week for the rest of my life. That's not the way to go, and PhD is the perfect alternative. I got to believe that you're welcoming people into the PhD family who are realizing an injection, thanks to big pharma's help? No thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, they're trying to offer solutions that just don't have its consumers in its best interest. They just want to make profit. They either have big food getting us food addicted, or big pharma and getting us drug addicted. So, trying to provide a so-called solution. But the deal with these drugs is that you've got to be on them forever to keep the weight off. I was chatting with a PhD weight loss client yesterday, actually, and she tried Ozempic. She dropped 25 pounds. She's got 100 pounds to let go of. She hated the way she felt. It didn't even curb her appetite. And that's really how these drugs work, is they just make you not hungry. You don't feel good. You feel flu-like, tired, lethargic. And so she decided she wanted to get off of it, and she gained all of the 25 pounds back plus more. And to date, she started with PhD about 3 months ago. She's down 45 pounds and naturally has no food noise, food chatter, food hunger. She's feeling great, no binge eating, and no long-term side effects. We're finding with these drugs that to keep the weight off, you have to be on them long-term. And most people can't handle the drugs for more than 1, maximum 2 years. And they gain 2/3 of the weight back within 1 year after dropping the drugs. They're about $20,000 a year. They're expensive. The majority of weight that we do drop on them comes from muscle. We know that muscle burns 7 times more calories than fat. And so what's happening is we're slowing our metabolism. we're dropping weight, yes, but we're dropping a lot of muscle. And it's really, really hard to get muscle back, especially as we age. So we actually, in the long term, end up fatter and worse off metabolically speaking. There is a 900% increased risk of developing pancreatitis, which we can die from, a 400% increased risk of developing bowel obstruction, from which we need surgical intervention to overcome. And now we're seeing a significantly increased risk of the sudden onset blindness. I was scrolling on my phone the other day, and there was an ad that popped up from a lawyer group saying, hey, if you experienced sudden onset blindness from your weight loss injections, contact us for help. I mean, it's just
Yikes.
wild out there.
Well, I have to share with you, I had a guy come up to me about 3 months ago. I told you about this. I was out giving a speech somewhere, and a guy comes up, and he kind of puts his arms on my shoulder. And normal-looking guy, he's about 5'10", looked like he's about 160 pounds. He had tears in his eyes. He said, Mike, you saved my life. I said, how did I save your life? He said, you introduced me to PhD weight loss. I lost 107 pounds. And he said, and I've kept it off for almost a year now with no problem. That kind of joy I get in sharing, that's why I love to have you on the show occasionally. I tell everybody about your YouTube channel, the Dr. Ashley Show. It's doing phenomenally well on YouTube. You should subscribe, find it, the Dr. Ashley Show. But people like this guy who, and like me, I mean, look, I had this MRI last week. You and I've been talking about it, had some dizziness. The doctor said there's a little bit of some blood vessel constriction or whatever in my brain, a little bit, nothing big, no major. But you know what he said to me? He said, thank goodness you've lost the weight, because obesity is a contributing factor to this. So these are all the things that make me so joyful to say proudly, portions of the Mike Gallagher Show are sponsored by PhD Weight Loss, because I get so excited in hearing about people like our friend Chris DeGaulle, Seb Gorka, and so many people, Charlie Kirk, all the people that have lost weight and kept it off. Dr. Ashley, thanks for the update. It's great seeing you in person. I hope everybody goes to myphdweightloss.com, or you call 864-644-1900 and schedule your consultation with Dr. Ashley's incredible team. And they are so good. They truly care. Call 864-644-1900 or go to myphdweightloss.com. And Dr. Ashley, let's continue to make America healthy again. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks,
Mike.
Doctor.
Great seeing you. Thanks, Doctor. Dr. Ashley Lucas, the founder of PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. Coming up, we asked about what happened to Mitch McConnell. Well, President Trump had an answer for that. Oh, boy. You'll want to hear that and more as our show continues for a Valentine's Day episode. Stick around.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.